I did a deep dive on the Kraven the Hunter movie in another video. Watch that before you watch me try to fix it. Sony clearly wanted to get into the superhero game, but they were limited on characters in the Spider-Man corner of the Marvel Universe, and there aren't that many straight-up heroic characters they had legal access to. This whole time, I've been giving them the benefit of the doubt. Well, even if these movies make Dean Cain's Dragon Fighter look like Citizen Kane, they didn't have much to work with. But apparently, they could have used Spider-Man if they wanted to. Tom Holland, I guess, or once this multiverse crap was in full swing, they could have had some weird different version of Spider-Man. I don't agree with the sentiment that they had to use Spider-Man. I think they could have done some interesting things with characters who don't have to be squeaky clean, but at least for 5/6 of the SSU, they didn't seem to know how to do that. Breaking Bad, Orange is the New Black, Reservoir Dogs, Gotti, The Prestige, Narcos, You. There's no shortage of media where the protagonist isn't that heroic, and while I can't vet all of these, they seem popular enough with the general public to prove your main character doesn't have to be a paragon of virtue. But most of the SSU characters ride that line without crossing it. Yeah, Venom eats a guy, but he still acts like a harmless child most of the time. The Venom movie we were promised in that one trailer.
If you're gonna stay, you will only hurt bad people.
The way I see it, we can do whatever we want. Do we have a deal?
About a guy forced to wreck some stuff if he wants to keep living, that's not what we got. We got a hilarious odd couple with a little bit more killing. If Sony wanted to make movies about actual heroes, why didn't they? And if you fear what would happen if you used Tom Holland without the trappings of the MCU, don't use that Spider-Man. The Spider-Verse movies are insanely popular. I've been tweaking like an idiot waiting for Beyond the Spider-Verse, and we still have to wait 2 more years. Maybe Betty Brant got bit by the spider in this world, or Harry Osborn, or Mary Jane, or maybe Peter Parker still did, but Aunt May died and Uncle Ben is still kicking. Whatever. The sky is the limit. If you want to make superhero movies, that's the option you should have gone with, as my understanding is nothing legally prevented you from doing that. But if you are dead set on making movies for Spidey's villains, that will require more of a deft hand than what you have demonstrated across the SSU. I said the Venom movies could quietly be set in the MCU. Disney, you use those characters in this world, we'll use these characters in this world, we'll all make boatloads of money and be happy. My version of No Way Home had Kraven gathering the Sinister Six to hunt the most dangerous game. This movie will be set in the MCU before the events of No Way Home. Like I said before, we're casting Carl Urban. Who cares if they've used him before? Kraven does not have superpowers. He's a highly skilled, regular dude. Think Batman with no morals. This makes him much more impressive when he goes up against someone who does have superpowers. He used to be a Black Ops operative, but he eventually became a low-level enforcer for various mobsters, which led to his life sentence in prison. When the Russian government found out, oh, that's Sergei Kravenov, throw him in the farthest hole you can find. It would be really embarrassing for us if the one-time national hero turned out to be a criminal. Someone in the prison is a gang lord, running things through proxies, bribing the guards to send messages. He hears Kraven's estranged son, Alexei, has been kidnapped by a new player in the game, and he lets it slip to Kraven. If he points Kraven to this new player, Kraven will tear everything apart to rescue his son. And that could be good for business for this gang lord. Kraven escapes through sheer cunning, not through superhuman parkour. The movie would be a combination of Taken and John Wick. Kraven is good, but he's allowed himself to soften a little since his heyday, so he's not quite at Batman or John Wick levels of bad tushery. This heightens the stakes a little, so we're not bored watching him mow down everyone who stands in his way. You know, like the movie we got. While Kraven tears through people who hold a grudge against him from years past, he's pursued by the secret police. Ideally, I'd like to use Colonel Alexei Vazhin, who first appeared in an issue of Marvel Team Up, so his status on which studio is allowed to use him might be a little vague. But Adamantium first appeared in an Avengers comic, and it was exclusively used in the X-Men films, so I see no problem with using Vazhin here. Kraven's animal-loving nature could be an element without saturating every other scene. Kraven goes to a stoolie and says, I won't go in guns blazing, I'll just ask some questions. Then he goes in, sees an underground dogfighting ring, and he lets loose. If you want to show a character is good, have them save a cat. If you want to show that they're bad, have them kick the dog. Even with how far Kraven has fallen, he still has a little bit of a heart of gold. Our big villain isn't the Rhino, though he could be a heavy working for the big villain. I'm not picky on genetic monstrosity or big robot suit, either one is fine. Rhino is working for the Chameleon, Kraven's brother. I used Chameleon in my fix on Far From Home, said he was using the hologram face mask from Winter Soldier. Soldier. This would be set before Winter Soldier. He's just a regular gangster. He wanted to draw Kraven out, not for malicious reasons, but to get his bro back in the game. What drove Kraven to crime enforcement was the death of his wife, which pushed him and his son away from each other. Dimitri genuinely loves his brother, and wants Kraven to see he doesn't need to rot in prison. He can put his skills to good use and feel alive once again. Sure, he thinks being a gang lord will be a lot easier with his brother at his side, but he does want to see his brother grab life by the tenders once again. Unfortunately, Alexei has now seen how savage his father can be, and any chance Kraven entertained of reuniting with his son is now gone. Alexei may have grown up hearing rumors about how ruthless Kraven could be, but he never wanted to believe it. But now he sees it's true, and he wants nothing to do with Kraven. Dimitri is willing to let Alexei go. He's family, even though he's not in the business, he won't cause trouble. But the Rhino says, I don't think so, we'd be better off with no witnesses. We still get a big brutal finale. Kraven is able to deal with the Rhino, and as far as Kraven is concerned, he and Dimitri are done for the rift that he solidified between Kraven and Alexei. Kraven turns himself into Colonel Vajan, and Vajan surprises Kraven by saying, we're not taking you back to prison. You single-handedly tore down this new gang that was worrying some higher-ups, especially with that monster that was working for them. Vajan says, as long as you're not planning on becoming an enforcer again, we can hush up any references to your prison time. The general public didn't know about it, so you're good. Kraven sets himself up as a TV celebrity animal guy, sort of like Steve Irwin. Maybe he'll help Colonel Vajan with occasional jobs, or maybe he'll take on freelance work if something catches his fancy. And that's it. This leaves room for Dimitri to leave the country and seek out something so he can hide from his brother's wrath. And the vicious, no quarter given version of the character of Kraven that we see here, hopefully that lines up with how he wants to see Spider-Man brought to justice in my version of No Way Home, even if he starts to see Spidey may have been framed, sort of the anti-Tommy Lee Jones from The Fugitive. I hope you guys like this one. I think I'm done with the SSU. You couldn't pay me to watch Venom Last Dance after my increasingly frustrating experiences with those first two movies. So next time, I'll do a fix on something else. In the meantime, I hope you have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.